When the air is cooler or it's a rainy Sunday afternoon in September, I feel like putting on my apron and cooking up some feel-good recipes. Come on into my kitchen and let's get cooking. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lisa, Best Life Lee. Well, I'm in my kitchen and I talked a lot about fall baking and fall cooking in my last video. So today I'm going to be doing a fall baking, cooking video for you. I'm going to make apple pumpkin streusel muffins, and I'm also going to make beef stew. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's September 7th. It's a rainy day here in my neck of the woods. It's the first day of football. Bob's upstairs watching his football game. So I'm gonna make a beef stew for us to have during halftime. I don't have a recipe for my beef stew. This is just something that this is the way that I make it. So I'm just gonna share that with you. And then I'm gonna bake and show you how I do this pumpkin apple streusel muffins, which I feel are very good for this time of year and on this type of day. And it's going to make about 12 muffins. And obviously we're not gonna eat 12 muffins, but you can share them, you can give them to family members, or you can just pop them in the freezer and pull them out on a cozy fall weekend and have them for breakfast. So the pumpkin streusel muffins are from a recipe that I got off of Pinterest, so I will share that with you, and I will link it in the description section. So if you want to see me make these muffins and cook my stew, then just keep on watching. All right, so I have my oven preheating to 425. You cook these muffins for the first 5 minutes on a high heat so the strudel will bake correctly, and then you lower it down to 350 and cook it the additional few minutes to finish baking your muffins. So I am going to line a 12 muffin pan with some muffin liners. All right, so these are ready to go. I just will pour my muffin batter into these when it's ready. But I'm gonna start with the streusel topping, and I've already mixed together my flour and my sugar, my brown sugar, my cinnamon, and a pinch of salt. And I am going to now cut 1.5 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter that I'm gonna just mix in here and make the strudel. And I'm gonna cut this into cubes. So I have my cubed butter, and I'm just gonna put it in here. And what it says for this streusel is you could do it with a fork, or you could do it with your fingers. It says it's much easier to do it with your fingers, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll show you what that's looking like close up. Here's my streusel, and I'm gonna add in 1.5 tablespoons of the apples. All right, so I'm just gonna put this in the fridge till I'm ready to use it. All right, now for the apple pumpkin muffins, so I'm gonna add in my sour cream, pumpkin, my apple juice, both sugars. So I need 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. Well, I'm using dark brown sugar, so 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar this way. 3. 1 large egg yolk at room temperature. 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then stir in the, okay, so I'm gonna mix this till it's smooth, and then I'm gonna mix in my apples. Mix in the apples. So now I'm going to mix my dry ingredients, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, plus 1 tablespoon of flour, tablespoon from my spoons, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. and 3/4 of a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Okay, I can't open that. I can't open it. There we go. My trusty tool. I'll link this below if you are interested. These days, I don't seem to be able to open cans and jars like I once did. All right, pumpkin spice. This is 3/4 of a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Whisk this together. All right, and then I'm gonna fold the dry ingredients into the wet using a spatula. Smells incredible. Of the spatula, and I think we're good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fill the muffins. Okay, so I want to evenly fill each muffin with the batter, and then I'm going to top with the streusel. So I'm going to start with doing a tablespoon in each. It's not making 12. It's only making 10. That's what happens sometimes when you're following a recipe. So maybe make a little bit more of the batter. Let's see how the streusel topping. I'm going to go with probably half a teaspoon to start, and then I will add more if I have enough. I want to try to get an apple in each of them. Show you what that looks like up close. So you can see that there's not a ton of strudel on top, but we are gonna bake these 5 minutes at 450 and then 11 to 13 minutes at a reduced temp of 350. So I'm putting them in the oven. I will show you them when they come out. All right guys, I just took them out of the oven. The muffins themselves are very pretty. They're like an orange color, and then we have the streusel on top, and the apples on top didn't really, melt or anything. So I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or if I didn't chop the apples up enough. But one of the other things I realized after I put them in the oven is that they're supposed to be, this is what happens when you don't read the recipe right from the beginning. There's supposed to be 4 muffins, so that's why I didn't get 12, and that's why there's not a lot of batter and streusel in my muffins. However, it's gonna be kind of good because if I were to eat the big, huge muffin, I would be eating probably quite a few calories with that. So they're gonna have to cool, so I'm not gonna taste them yet. But I will definitely give them a taste test before the end of this video and let you know what they taste like. But I was supposed to only do 4 muffins, so that's why they look a little skimpy. But like I said, I can eat them with a little less guilt. So, on to the beef stew. Guys, so my beef stew is very easy. It is very uncomplicated. I don't use a lot of spices. I don't use basically some potatoes, some carrots, and some sirloin tips. And then I'm just going to slice up my carrots, cube up my potato, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the sirloin.
have my potatoes and carrots all ready to go. I'm just gonna set those aside for now. I'm gonna take my sirloin and I'm gonna chop it into cubes. You want it kind of bite-sized. It will shrink down a little bit. And I tend to buy the sirloin rather than the stew meat that's already cut up, because I find that stew meat, and I don't know if it's just me, my experiences in the past, and maybe a bad batch, but it tends to be tougher than the sirloin. The sirloin is more tender. I think because usually you cook stew for a long time, so the chuck will probably break down and become more tender, and you want a meat that's has a little bit, you know, more toughness, because you want to cook that down. But I cook my stew very quickly. It's done in about 20 minutes, really as long as it takes to cook the potatoes and the carrots. So that's why it's easy, and that's why I use a better cut of beef, or steak I should say. Alright, so now what I'm going to do with my meat is I'm going to coat it with flour and my seasonings. That's where I'm going to season the meat. And so that flour is what's going to thicken up my stew as it cooks. So I'm just going to put my meat into the bag. And I'm always washing my hands when I'm working with meat, raw meat, or any kind of raw protein, just to be on the safe side. All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of put, I don't know, I use this little scoop. This is probably a couple of tablespoons of flour, and I'm just going to coat the meat. I'm not going to put like a ton, but I just kind of see what it looks like and if it looks good. Then I'm going to take about a tablespoon of garlic powder. About a tablespoon. I'm just going to put it in my hand there. Garlic powder and onion powder. Same thing, just fits in the palm of my hand like Rachel Ray does. Alright, so I got that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt and about half a teaspoon of pepper. And then I'm just going to get this all mixed together and coated really, really well. All right, so come on over to the stove and we'll get it into the pan. All right, so I'm heating up my Dutch oven, and I'm gonna put a couple of teaspoons of vegetable oil. I'm using canola oil here. You can use whatever kind of oil you prefer to brown your meat. And I'm just gonna get my meat in the pan with the flour and seasonings mixed. And I want all that flour to go in the pan. Okay, and now I'm just gonna brown this meat. And I have my heat about medium high. All right, so that looks like it's browned enough. I'm gonna put my potatoes and my carrots in now. And I'm gonna put my beef broth. And you want enough beef broth to cover everything. All right, and then I'm gonna stir it and try to get up those bits off the bottom of the pan as much as I can, because that's where all the flavor is. Bob's going to be my first taste tester on these muffins here. So you want to give one a taste. Taste one with the with the apples on there, so you can see if what it tastes like. Are you scared? Well.
Very, very, very good.
Does it taste good?
Excellent.
How does the apple, is the apple soft or?
Yes.
Got a little bit of a crunch?
A little bit.
What does it taste like to you? You're not a big pumpkin guy, so they are pumpkins, but they're pumpkin apple.
Delicious.
Yeah? Look, he's going in for seconds, folks. He asked for a second one, not for the video, so they must taste good. Thanks, baby.
Bon appetit.
All right, so then what I'm gonna do is bring it to a boil. You can see how it's already thickening up just from having that flour. And we're gonna simmer this. Once it comes up to a boil, we're gonna simmer this for 20 minutes till the potatoes and the carrots get tender. Once it starts boiling and I turn it down to a simmer, I'm gonna cover it, but not completely. I'm gonna leave a little bit of area so that the steam can escape. All right, so now that you can see it's come to a boil, I'm gonna lower my heat to like medium low and put the cover on. Just leave it a little bit open so the steam can escape, and we'll cook it, we'll let it cook here for 20 minutes. All right, so it's been on a simmer boil kind of a thing for 20 minutes. I'm gonna give it a nice little stir here. And you can see how it's nice and thickened up. Keep scraping that bottom. And I'm gonna turn the heat down to low. And I'm gonna add in 1 can of whole kernel corn. Now you could add peas or string beans, whatever you like. I like to, normally I would add in peas, but I didn't have any peas. So I'm just gonna let that sort of heat the corn through, and it will be done, folks. I'll show you when we put it in a bowl and get ready to eat. Give it a little taste and see if it needs any salt or pepper. Yep, I'm just gonna give it a shot of salt and a shot of pepper. And we are ready to go. What I did is I let it sit on the stove with no heat under it, just from the heat of the pan from having cooked. It's the exact right temperature to serve. It's been sitting for about an hour and a half. You can see that the steam is still coming off the stew, so it did not cool down too much, but it is just, and it had time for the flavors to all marry together. Make the most delicious beef stew. Dinner is served. All right, guys, so that was delicious. So I just gave Bob his second bowl of the beef stew. I enjoyed mine thoroughly. Very, very tasty. So I'm gonna give these muffins a taste now as a sort of semi-dessert. I know Bob gave them a taste, but I wanted to let you know how I thought they came out. They're really super, super moist and very pumpkin-y looking, but I'm gonna eat a part that has the apple and the strudel. Mmm. Cinnamony, pumpkin-y, moist.
Yeah, mild.
The strudel is very good. The apples give it an extra something. Oh yeah, they're beautiful to bite into. They're nice and sort of have still a little bit of crispness to them, but these aren't too sweet, but they're just sweet enough, and they're very moist. Love them. If you make them and you want to make them the way that they were intended to be made, you can make 4 big huge muffins, or you can do like I did and make little small, you know, mini muffins. They're not mini, they're kind of mini, but so good. I'll show you the apples in there, and very good. These are good muffins. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks so much for coming along with me on this fall baking cooking day. I hope you are inspired to try something. Let me know if you think my beef stew looked good. It did taste good. And if you'll give it a try. So take care, everybody. See you in my next video. Bye for now.